On February 12, 2025, the U.S. Senate confirmed Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence (DNI) in a narrow vote of 52 to 48. This confirmation was marked by significant political tension, particularly due to the opposition voiced by Senator Mitch McConnell, who stood out as the only Republican senator to vote against her nomination. His dissent highlighted a growing rift within the Republican Party concerning foreign policy and national security issues. Background and context. Tulsi Gabbard, a former U.S. Congresswoman and a member of the Army National Guard, had been a controversial figure in American politics, particularly due to her views on foreign intervention and her past defense of Edward Snowden, who leaked classified information about U.S. surveillance programs. Gabbard's political trajectory saw her move from a rising star in the Democratic Party, where she served from 2013 to 2021, to becoming a notable figure in the Republican Party after leaving the Democrats in 2022. She was nominated for the DNI position by then-President Donald Trump, reflecting his ongoing skepticism toward intelligence agencies. Timeline of events leading to confirmation. 1. January 30, 2025, Gabbard appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee facing intense questioning about her past positions, particularly her refusal to label Edward Snowden a traitor. This evasiveness led to significant scrutiny from both sides of the aisle. 2. February 4, 2025, the Senate Intelligence Committee voted along party lines to advance Gabbard's nomination to the full Senate, underscoring the deep divisions regarding her suitability for the position. 3. February 10, 2025, a procedural vote in the Senate resulted in a 52 to 46 outcome, allowing Gabbard's nomination to proceed to a final confirmation vote. For February 12, 2025, the Senate ultimately confirmed Gabbard's nomination, with all 47 Democrats voting against her, while a coalition of moderate Republicans, including Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, supported her. Mitch McConnell's opposition. Senator Mitch McConnell's no vote became a focal point of discussion. He expressed concerns about Gabbard's prior positions, particularly her defense of Snowden, which he deemed a treasonous betrayal of the United States. McConnell argued that a DNI who could not unequivocally denounce Snowden might pose risks to U.S. national security by undermining the intelligence community's integrity and effectiveness. McConnell's unique stance as the only Republican to reject Gabbard's nomination drew backlash from various factions within the GOP. Some party members criticized his decision, labeling him a backstabbing rhino Republican in name only and expressing frustration over perceived disloyalty to Trump's agenda. This dissent indicates a fracture in the party, as many Republicans rallied around Gabbard despite her controversial views. Political reactions. The aftermath of the vote saw a mix of support and criticism for both Gabbard and McConnell. While Gabbard's supporters argued that her confirmation was a step toward needed reform in intelligence operations, her detractors warned of the potential risks associated with her appointment. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer made a passionate plea against Gabbard's confirmation, arguing that her past statements indicated poor judgment and a lack of qualification for leading intelligence operations. He cautioned that entrusting classified secrets to someone who echoed Russian propaganda could have dire consequences. On the other hand, McConnell faced calls for his removal from the Senate, reflecting a faction within the GOP that is increasingly intolerant of dissent. Some of his critics pointed to his recent health issues, including falls that had left him using a wheelchair, as reasons for questioning his capability to serve effectively. Summary of the event's significance. The confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as DNI, despite bipartisan skepticism, underscores the evolving dynamics within the Republican Party and the complexities surrounding U.S. foreign policy. McConnell's lone opposition highlighted not only his concerns regarding national security but also the internal conflicts that continue to shape the party's identity in the post-Trump era. This event serves as a reminder of the contentious nature of contemporary American politics, where issues of loyalty, national security, and foreign policy remain deeply divisive. As Gabbard takes on her new role, the implications of her controversial past and the ongoing debates within the GOP will likely continue to influence U.S. intelligence and foreign policy for years to come. The confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence (DNI) on February 12, 2025, was marked by a surprising twist in the political landscape, particularly highlighting the position of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. His dissenting vote against Gabbard made him the only Republican to oppose her confirmation, a move that elicited significant backlash from within his party. Counterintuitive information. 1. Bipartisan support against party lines. It is counterintuitive that while Gabbard faced opposition from all Democrats, who collectively voted against her, key moderate Republicans like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski still supported her nomination. This reflects a significant divide within the Republican Party, challenging the expectation that all members would align with McConnell's position, especially given his leadership status. 2. McConnell's unique opposition. McConnell's decision to vote against Gabbard stands out not just because he was the sole Republican dissenting voice, but also because he has historically supported numerous controversial nominees aligned with Trump's administration. His vote against a nominee chosen by Trump himself contradicts the expected loyalty to the party line, indicating deeper concerns about Gabbard's views on national security. 3. Concerns over Snowden. McConnell's objections revolved around Gabbard's handling of the Edward Snowden issue. His emphasis on this point is counterintuitive given that during Trump's presidency many Republicans had a complicated relationship with Snowden's actions. McConnell's insistence on denouncing Snowden as a traitor highlights a divergence from the more lenient perspective some party members have adopted in recent years regarding national security and intelligence operations. 4. Impact of McConnell's health on political dynamics. McConnell's physical condition, having recently suffered falls and requiring a wheelchair, adds a layer of complexity to his political maneuvers. Despite his health challenges, he chose to attend the vote and oppose Gabbard, which some interpreted as a commitment to principle over personal discomfort. This contrasts with narratives within political circles that often equate physical limitations with reduced political influence or capability. 5. Backlash within the GOP. The backlash McConnell faced from fellow Republicans for his vote against Gabbard reveals an unexpected tension within the party. Calls for his removal illustrate a rift that contrasts with the often unified front the GOP attempts to present. This intra-party conflict underscores a broader concern about the direction of the party and loyalty to Trump's ideals versus traditional Republican values. 6. Gabbard's confirmation despite controversies. Gabbard's ability to secure confirmation despite bipartisan skepticism and her controversial past reflects a shifting political climate. The fact that a candidate with such a polarizing history could be confirmed as DNI signals a potential acceptance of divergent viewpoints within the intelligence community, challenging the historical norm where candidates are scrutinized heavily for such positions. These counterintuitive elements reveal the complex dynamics at play in contemporary American politics, particularly within the Republican Party, where traditional loyalties and emerging viewpoints are increasingly at odds. The confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence (DNI) on February 12, 2025 has emerged as a pivotal moment in recent U.S. political history, highlighting both individual and collective dynamics within the Senate and the Republican Party. The significance of this event extends beyond the details of Gabbard's candidacy and her controversial political history. It reveals the underlying fractures in party unity, particularly among Republicans, and raises critical questions about national security perspectives that may have long-term implications for U.S. foreign policy. Key elements of the confirmation process. 1. Bipartisan skepticism. Gabbard's nomination was met with skepticism from both sides of the aisle, primarily due to her past positions regarding Edward Snowden and military interventionism. While all Democrats voted against her, several moderate Republicans, including Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, supported her, indicating a notable division in foreign policy outlooks within the GOP. 2. Mitch McConnell's unique dissent. Senator Mitch McConnell's vote against Gabbard, making him the only Republican to do so, is particularly significant. His stance reflects a broader conflict within the Republican Party regarding loyalty to Trump and interpretations of national security. McConnell's objections centered on Gabbard's refusal to label Snowden as a traitor, which he viewed as indicative of a troubling stance on intelligence and national security. 3. The backlash against McConnell. Following his dissent, McConnell faced backlash from factions within the Republican Party, which is telling of the shifting allegiances and priorities among party members. Some party members called for his removal, which highlights the potential consequences for those who diverge from the party line, especially regarding Trump-related nominations. The backlash underscores a growing rift within the party between traditional conservative values and new populist influences. Overlooked significance. While the procedural aspects of Gabbard's confirmation have been widely reported, there are several important elements that may be overlooked by the general public but hold substantial significance for the future of American politics and foreign policy. 1. Implications for national security policy. McConnell's concerns about Gabbard's views on Snowden are not just about one individual's perspective, they represent a larger debate about the role of intelligence in national security. By opposing Gabbard based on her perceived leniency towards Snowden, McConnell is signaling a commitment to traditional intelligence practices and caution against a more populist or isolationist approach to foreign policy that Gabbard has sometimes embodied. 2. Shift in Republican ideology. The tension surrounding Gabbard's confirmation may be a harbinger of a more profound ideological shift within the Republican Party. The fact that moderate Republicans were willing to support her despite her controversial views suggests a potential fragmentation of the party into factions that prioritize different aspects of national security and foreign policy. This could lead to a realignment of Republican priorities in the coming years, especially as the party continues to grapple with its identity post-Trump. 3. The role of intelligence in politics. Gabbard's confirmation and the surrounding debate underscore a critical issue: the politicization of intelligence. Gabbard's previous statements have raised concerns about her ability to maintain the integrity and objectivity required of the DNI. The division of opinion reflects a broader concern about how intelligence is used as a political tool, which can have dangerous implications for U.S. foreign relations and national security operations. 4. A public perception and political fallout. The public reaction to McConnell's dissent and Gabbard's confirmation could impact voter sentiment, particularly among the Republican base. The divide over Gabbard's nomination may energize certain voter demographics who align with either McConnell's traditional conservative stances or Gabbard's more populist anti-establishment rhetoric. This could affect voter turnout and political engagement in future elections, especially in the lead-up to the 2026 midterms. 5. Future of bipartisanship. Gabbard's confirmation process also highlights the challenges of bipartisanship in an increasingly polarized political environment. While some Republicans supported her, the unified Democratic opposition reflects a broader trend of partisan gridlock in Washington. The inability to bridge these divides may hinder effective governance and impact critical national security decisions moving forward. Conclusion. Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation as Director of National Intelligence is more than a singular event. It is a reflection of the evolving dynamics within the U.S. political landscape, particularly within the Republican Party. The implications of McConnell's dissent, the bipartisan skepticism surrounding Gabbard, and the potential shifts in national security policy all serve as indicators of future political trajectories. As the Republican Party navigates its identity in a post-Trump world, the fractures revealed during this confirmation process may shape the party's direction and its approach to governance in the years to come. The significance of this event lies not just in the immediate outcomes but in the long-term consequences for American politics and national security. 1. McConnell's unique position. Mitch McConnell's role as the only Republican senator to vote against Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation as the Director of National Intelligence (DNI) is a significant point of discussion. His dissent not only highlights his concerns regarding Gabbard's foreign policy views, particularly her stance on Edward Snowden, but also reflects broader intra-party divisions within the Republican Party. McConnell's decision stands out in a context where party loyalty to Trump's nominees is typically expected, marking a noteworthy exception that could signal shifting dynamics within the GOP. 2. Concerns over national security and Snowden. McConnell's primary objection to Gabbard's nomination revolves around her perceived ambiguity regarding Edward Snowden, whom he categorizes as a traitor. This raises crucial questions about national security and the role of the DNI in maintaining intelligence integrity. McConnell's statement that Gabbard's views could undermine intelligence collection underscores the potential implications of her leadership for U.S. intelligence practices, especially in a time of heightened global threats. 3. Bipartisan support despite opposition. Gabbard's confirmation, which occurred despite unified Democratic opposition in McConnell's dissent, illustrates a complex interplay of bipartisan support and skepticism. The backing from moderate Republican senators like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski indicates that Gabbard's candidacy resonated with a faction of the GOP. Despite the broader concerns articulated by McConnell and other party members, this situation highlights the nuanced perspectives within the Republican Party concerning foreign policy and the role of the DNI, suggesting a potential evolution in party ideology. 4. Political reactions and party dynamics. The backlash McConnell faced from some Republican members following his vote against Gabbard indicates a growing rift within the party, particularly concerning loyalty to Trump and the acceptance of candidates with controversial views. The calls for McConnell's removal reflect a faction of the GOP that prioritizes party unity over individual dissent, raising questions about the future of the party's leadership and ideological coherence. This internal conflict could have significant implications for Republican strategies and candidate selections in upcoming elections. 1. The confirmation of John Bolton as National Security Advisor 2018. John Bolton, a controversial figure known for his hawkish foreign policy views, was appointed as National Security Advisor to President Donald Trump. His nomination faced significant opposition from various quarters, including some within the Republican Party who were concerned about his aggressive stance on international relations and his past involvement in the Iraq War. Despite this, Bolton was ultimately confirmed, reflecting a divide within the GOP over foreign policy and national security approaches. 2. The Senate confirmation of Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State 2017. Rex Tillerson, the former CEO of ExxonMobil, was nominated by President Trump to be Secretary of State. His nomination was met with skepticism from both Democrats and some Republicans, particularly due to his lack of government experience and his ties to Russia. The Senate vote was close, with some members of his party voicing concerns about his qualifications and approach to diplomacy. Despite the dissent, Tillerson was confirmed, highlighting the prevailing divisions on foreign policy within the Senate. 3. The opposition to Chuck Hagel's Secretary of Defense nomination 2013. Chuck Hagel, a former Republican senator, was nominated by President Obama to serve as Secretary of Defense. His nomination faced significant backlash from conservative members of the GOP who questioned his positions on military intervention and Israel. Despite the opposition, including a filibuster attempt, Hagel was confirmed in a tense Senate vote. His confirmation process underscored the ideological splits within the Republican Party and the broader debates over defense and foreign policy within U.S. governance. The confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence (DNI) on February 12, 2025 marked a significant event in American politics, particularly highlighting the evolving dynamics within the Republican Party. Gabbard's confirmation, achieved with a narrow 52-48 vote, was notable not only for her controversial views but also for the dissent expressed by Senator Mitch McConnell, who was the only Republican senator to vote against her. Future outlook, predictions for political dynamics. 1. Intra-party divisions within the GOP. McConnell's dissent signifies deeper ideological rifts within the Republican Party. Going forward, we may witness increasing polarization between traditional conservatives and more populist factions that align with Trump's vision. This divide may lead to challenges in unifying the party for future elections as differing views on foreign policy and national security gain prominence. 2. Impact on intelligence and foreign policy. Gabbard's confirmation reflects a shift towards a more unorthodox approach to national security, contrasting with conventional Republican views. As DNI, her policies may prioritize diplomatic engagement over military intervention. This could reshape U.S. foreign relations, particularly in the Middle East and with Russia. Future administrations may need to navigate the complexities of Gabbard's perspectives, which could influence intelligence operations and international alliances. 3. Role of moderate Republicans. The support from moderate Republicans like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski for Gabbard indicates that centrist voices within the GOP are gaining traction. This trend could lead to a resurgence of moderate Republicanism, challenging the dominance of the far-right factions. In future elections, moderate candidates may gain more prominence, attempting to appeal to a broader electorate disillusioned with extreme partisanship. 4. Democratic strategy and opposition. The Democratic Party's unanimous opposition to Gabbard suggests a potential strategy of solidifying party unity against controversial nominees from the GOP. Future Democratic campaigns may leverage the narrative of protecting national security and intelligence integrity to rally support, especially as they navigate the implications of Gabbard's leadership. 5. Public perception of intelligence agencies. Gabbard's confirmation could further polarize public opinion regarding intelligence agencies. Her past defense of Edward Snowden and critiques of the intelligence community may resonate with anti-establishment sentiments. As a result, future debates on surveillance, data privacy, and national security could become more contentious, with increasing calls for transparency and reform. 6. Potential for political backlash. McConnell's dissent may not only alienate him from a faction of the GOP but could also set a precedent where dissenting opinions within the party face backlash. This environment may discourage other Republicans from voicing their concerns, potentially stifling healthy debate and leading to a more homogeneous party line. Consequently, future elections may witness candidates being penalized for diverging from party orthodoxy. 7. Rise of independent candidates. The political landscape may see a rise in independent candidates who capitalize on the dissatisfaction with both major parties. Gabbard's own transition to the Republican Party highlights the fluidity of political affiliations. As voters seek alternatives to the traditional two-party system, independents may gain traction in upcoming elections, influencing outcomes in key races. 8. Focus on national security issues. With Gabbard's unique views on military intervention and relationships with adversaries, national security will likely become a focal point of future campaigns. Candidates may be compelled to articulate clear policies on defense, intelligence, and foreign affairs, responding to an electorate increasingly concerned about the implications of U.S. actions abroad. 9. Influence of social media and public discourse. The contentious nature of Gabbard's nomination and McConnell's dissent may amplify the role of social media in shaping public discourse. Future political battles may unfold on platforms like Twitter and Facebook, where narratives around candidates' backgrounds and policy positions are debated in real time. This could further polarize opinions and influence voter behavior in unpredictable ways. 10. Long-term effects on GOP leadership. McConnell's dissent may prompt discussions about leadership within the GOP. As younger, more radical figures gain prominence, traditional leadership may face challenges in maintaining their influence. Over the next few election cycles, we could see shifts in leadership dynamics, potentially leading to a reshaping of the party's future direction and strategy. Conclusion. The confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as DNI and the accompanying political fallout reflect broader trends within American politics. As the Republican Party grapples with internal divisions, the impact of Gabbard's leadership and McConnell's dissent will likely reverberate through upcoming elections and policy decisions. The landscape is set for a period of significant transformation where the interplay of ideology, public opinion, and political strategy will shape the future of American governance.